This guy right here, Maxwell, needs no introduction. You want to see him wholesaling, flying planes, being in Africa, building dream homes, buying up the world. Give it up for my man, Mr. Maxwell.
What's up, baby?
What's up, Max?
I'm over here.
Real estate is in the building. So we're going to start with wholesale and Maxwell.
First generation American to Jamaican parents. So all my Jamaicans put the gun on one time. But you know, I grew up in North Carolina and started. Okay, we got Carolina in the house. No, so I went to the military very young at 17. I wasn't smart enough to college. I'm dyslexic, so college wasn't my thing. Went to the military. After the military, I came home and did a bunch of things. I failed at a lot of stuff, man, G. I failed at a lot, but I never quit. So it wasn't really failure, I just kept going. And then I got to the point where my last failure was hard. I was 30 years old. You're supposed to have your life all together when you're 30. And so I ended up at 30 years old, my last company failed. I had to move back home with my mom. That wasn't fun. And so I wanted to get back into real estate though, but that was a deep, dark time and I was depressed. You can name it, everything. And then I found out about wholesaling and I became completely obsessed. And wholesaling is simply, finding a property cheap, finding somebody else who wants it, and making some money in the middle. And we did that over and over again to where I got 21 employees, multi-million-dollar. We doing that and we moving along the line. I'm trying to catch up with the rest of these guys right here.
I hope that go to nobody else. Repeat that, how many employees?
21.
21 employees.
Yeah.
And it started off with doing one deal.
One deal in 2016.
That's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So you went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Real quick.
Alright, so let's talk about those first steps, right? For those folks who don't know what wholesaling is, don't know how to get started with wholesaling, what's the steps? How do you get your first deal?
So wholesaling is real simple. The best part about wholesaling is identifying a deal. And that's the principle of all real estate. Can you identify a deal? And so most of us have drove past houses with tall grass, uncut bushes, boarded up properties, and it's such an eyesore that you keep driving past it. And so I didn't drive past this one. It was an old neighborhood that I was in. I found the property. I looked up on the tax assessor's website who owned it, did a bunch of Google searching, find the person, found their Facebook page, ended up getting their phone number, and I said, yeah, I want to buy this house right here. She was like, actually, I'm interested in selling it. She said, let me call you back. My husband works long hours over the road. I'll call you back in a few days. A few hours later, she calls me. It's like, yo, I want to sell it. And not really knowing what the price was, I told her I'd give her $30,000. She was like, nah. She said, give me 32 and pay the taxes, something like that. So I ended up picking up the house for like 42 grand. And here's the crazy thing. All I did was have to get her to sign the contract to say that I can purchase it from her at $42,000. Now the next step was on me. I got to find somebody that's willing to pay more for it in the time frame that I said I was going to buy the house. So in 30 days, I got to bring her $42,000 cash. I called somebody else, put it on Facebook Marketplace. Somebody else said they'll pay 56 for the same house. So what in between is called an assignment. So the difference between
What's an assignment?
I'm assigning my rights in the contract. So let me back up. When I got that contract, I now had what they call equitable interest in that property for the time frame written in that contract. So for the next 30 days, she can't sell it. She can't do anything to it. And so I was able, since I had that equitable interest, I'm able to transfer that equitable interest to somebody else that's willing to pay me for that piece of paper. And on that deal, that person paid me $14,000. And I don't know, I was so broke, that felt like $1 million. That felt like $1 million, real talk.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So how did you find that buyer?
Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace. So you put it on Facebook Marketplace, they hit you up, you sold it, and then you moved on to the next property?
That's simple. So essentially when the guy said he would buy it from me, what assignment essentially does is it scratches your name out as the executor, as the buyer, and they put their name. So when it goes to closing, they got to put the money up, and they got to put the extra money up, which is the $14,000 that goes to me. And then we went over and over. My first year, I did like $800,000 in assignment deals.
Wait, hold on. You said in the first year, you did 800,000.
Over $800,000 in assignments in 1 year.
You had no experience prior to that?
None. Damn. I had no money to have no experience.
So, wait a minute. 800,000. Give these folks out here 3 steps, 3 actual items that they can take to get their first deal today. Right after the session is over. What can they do?
You need to go drive in the neighborhoods you already know. There's houses with tall grass, unkept bushes. Somebody doesn't want that house, the person that owns it. So you identify that house, find out who the owner is, and then go find a buyer who wants to pay more for it than you got it. And it's that simple. It's really 3 steps.
That doesn't seem hard at all.
It's not. People get frustrated with the process and they want to be perfect before they start. Just go do it.
So they don't have to be perfect. They don't, because a lot of people out here, they overanalyze. They got analysis paralysis, right? So with wholesaling, you don't need to overanalyze. You just need to know drop dollars.
You remember I told you I'm dyslexic, right?
Yes.
So my first 1-page contract had misspellings on it, and that same contract I used for the whole year made me $800,000. So it wasn't perfect. I just took action.
It's something you always say, perfect, massive action.
Yeah, take imperfect, massive action. Just move. Just move. Because a lot of people sit down and they wait for the right answer. You just got to keep moving.
Gotta keep moving, guys. Hope y'all taking notes on this. A lot of information so far. So now, you made $800,000 your first year. Do you need to be licensed to wholesale deals?
No, not at all. Because you're not helping someone else buy or sell property. When you got equitable interest in the property, you're just selling the paper, your equitable interest, and not the actual real estate.
Do you think people should get a real estate license before they wholesale?
It don't hurt. So if that's going to be one of your analysis paralysis things, go do it and then get back on the train.
There you have it. Now, you got 21 employees. How the hell did you grow a wholesaling company? Because that's major. You don't see too many wholesalers out here that now have a wholesale company. So how did you go about doing it? What were your steps that you took to build this company?
You know, first thing I had to do is I had to become a better leader, because it's a big responsibility that every Friday somebody comes and depends on you for a paycheck. And so I had to learn how to be a leader. And so reading books and getting with mentors to be a better leader, and that was the first thing. And then I knew I had to document my process from A to Z. And then I started firing myself from positions in the company from doing things.
Hold on, you was firing yourself.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that a little bit.
So if I'm up late at night collecting the data to then wake up in the morning to skip trace it, then later in the afternoon making the phone calls, and then in the evening going on appointments, I got to figure out what process. First, I got to document that process, and I got to figure out where can I fire myself from and not hurt the company. And I had to first hire somebody to collect the data when I was sleeping. So I hired somebody from the Philippines, and then I had to hire somebody to answer the phone calls from the bandit signs and the marketing that was done from the Philippines. So my first 4 employees all lived in 12 hours behind me.
How did you go about hiring?
I went to first, I found one person on Upwork.
What was that?
Upwork.
Upwork.
Upwork.com.
Y'all got that? Okay.
And then I made it that person's task to go out and find me 3 more people like them.
Smart.
And then I had the team. So you document your process, create your SOPs, which is standard operating procedures. And once you create those standard operating procedures, everybody knows how to do. So when I fired myself from collecting data, I already had videos on how to do it. So I just handed them the videos. I wake up in the morning, data's on the table.
Because you documented the process.
And then I started recording my phone calls. And then the next person I hired, I said, listen to these 100 recordings on how I do it. Check back with me in 3 weeks. And I'm gonna pay you to learn. And so once you do that, you start to fire yourself. So now I'm at the point where I got 21 employees and I go into the office maybe 1 or 2 times every other week.
You got your freedom.
Got my freedom.
You got your freedom. Now, you got wholesalers under you?
So I don't have any other wholesalers under me. A lot of my staff is in the sales department. So we brought our own attorneys in-house. We were tired of having people close our deals not in record time. So we basically purchased our own title company so we can close fast. And so we created our own ecosystem, and so now we're able to pump out deals faster than anybody else in the city.
Man, that's incredible, y'all. Those are the gems right there. But for the folks out there who are just starting out, what team members do they need to have? Because you mentioned the title company. Why is it important for them to have a good title company?
Absolutely important. So if you live in a title state, which means that a title company does the real estate closes in your state, I happen to live in an attorney state. Basically, that's your best friend, because when you get a contract, the first person you're going to give it to is that closing person, and they're going to do what they call a title search. That person is going to tell you if the property is clear to close or not. So you need that person on your team. Outside of that, you just got to go hustle.
Just need to grind.
You just got to go hustle.
Just need to grind. Max, Caesar, Chris, any one of y'all can put this question.
I mean, what's that saying? They say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
Right. Yeah.
So you know you shouldn't wait. It's the foundation of us building wealth in our community. Like I just spent a month or so in Africa, right? And they don't even have a credit system over there. Like if you go buy a house, you got to bring cash. If you want to rent an apartment, you got to bring 1 to 2 years of rent up front. I know you would like that, Caesar. So you got to understand, America's built on equity. Equity is what has lowered people's debt on credit cards. It sent kids to college. It allowed you to improve your homes, all these things. So you need to go out and own something. Equity is involved in that.
Can you explain what skip tracing is, and also what are the best companies to use to get this type of data?
Yeah, so in my prior life, one of my failed business, I was a bail bondsman. Right? And so skip tracing comes from when somebody misses court, they're skipped and you got to go trace them, because if you don't find them in 100 days, you got to pay the whole bond as a bondsman. So that's where that word comes from. So, data is very important to your business. I happen to own 2 data companies. I won't even mention them up here, but I own 2 data companies, and data is very important. It's the difference between reaching somebody or not reaching somebody. And so there's so many different services out there. I would say just do your homework. I would ask somebody who's doing business for a long time and say, who do you use on your connection rate? I'm not up here to sell y'all nothing, so I'm not even gonna mention mine. But you need to find somebody who's actively doing deals, and then ask them, yo, who are you using to find data? Because data is very important. MG, something that's real crazy. All of us do 3 different things in real estate. But what the main common thing is we all know how to identify a deal. And something that I say all the time is a good deal never looks for money. Money always looks for a good deal. So if you hold one of those, if you hold that good deal, money will always come to you. So don't ever inbox me or Caesar, Chris, something, you need money for a deal or you need this, because if you got a good deal, somebody will be chasing you for that joint.
That is a fact. And what you probably think is a good deal is a terrible deal.
So get good at identifying a deal. I don't care if you're doing single family, multifamily, or development. Learn how to identify a deal, because he said you need 3 things, and one of them was the opportunity. And if you create that, they're gonna bring you the money.
What are 2 other things to identify a good deal since we're on that subject?
Well, listen, you gotta, and anything we do, a lot of people like to take shortcuts, right? You say you've been doing this for 16 years, right? My man had to study to know how to analyze a deal so he could be in New Jersey and buy a property in Chicago. Nothing is gonna beat studying something that you wanna be great at, right? My man could probably make $1 million on the back of a napkin, sitting at a bar drinking a tequila drink, all because he studied the real estate. He knows how to identify the deals. And so there's no shortcut to learning this. You gotta really put in the work. You have to really put in the work. There's no calculator, there's no this. You gotta study it so that you can regurgitate it at any moment. I remember almost 2 years ago, sitting in the kitchen at the EYL University joint.
Yeah.
And we were talking off camera, and it's just like I see where you guys are going. You know, I was on episode 50, and now we're here, thousands of people in Atlanta, and this is what we need to make the new normal. And this is what they're afraid of right here. You know, because this is important. This is the only way we're gonna be able to pass the information on, because we need this. We so far behind, we gotta play catch up. You already know we fast, so once we catch on, it's over. And that's what they're afraid of. It's about to be over. So take this information. You see us sitting on stage, absorb it. We enjoy coming up here and pouring into y'all because it makes us better. And we want to see y'all at the top. It's so important. So don't take this opportunity lightly. Don't be a seminar junkie. When you leave here, go do something. With the information that you acquire, go do something. Become obsessed with being successful and just go for it, because it's out there.
Index Fest 2021, make some noise!
Every day you wake up and challenging yourself and like, all right, what can we do different? How can we keep innovating? How can we stay on top? Because you know, as an entrepreneur, you know somebody's behind you. They chasing you.
Somebody is. Right
Somebody is. They might not even have a name right now.
Maxwell, what's happening, man?
How you doing, man? Just got off stage. It's a beautiful crowd out there.
Hey, I noticed you've been rocking it heavy.
Bro, it's that I can't wear. It's hard for me to wear this, bro. It's so comfortable and it looks so elegant. And I feel comfortable. Breathe. I can see through it. It's comfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it was crazy because less than 2 years ago, I remember being in the dining room of EYL and telling them they were going to do great things and kind of saying, they was the leader of the culture in this side. And it's crazy to see it come to fruition is that they packed this place out with 4,000 people. And it's just beautiful to see. It's people are actually coming here to learn something. So I'm glad to be a part of it, man.